So my name is Vishal Panchal. I'm the senior technology executive in IBM, being in the technology consulting business for forever now. I'm the data AI and IoT leader in IBM, part of the Microsoft Business Group. Like most of you, I'm the tech enthusiast and a community developer. I'm a big believer of people, and I love to share our experiences and opportunities to grow our businesses in the local marketplace. So that's why I'm one of the reasons I'm here today. Um, what I do on a daily basis is that I help clients drive IBM's multi-cloud and AI mission, which means about bringing thought leadership on advising, building data and AI applications on cloud platforms, um, building people, building practices and capabilities in IBM to expand our market share on a cloud platforms. I'm here today to make you aware about, or let's say, I'm here to give you a quick teaser about how smart factory solutions can be accelerated with right kind of connectivity using Azure IoT. So without further ado, I'm just going to quickly dive into the presentation. So what I've done is that I've laid out like four simple steps as part of the agenda here. Like how can I simplify the presentation in terms of the acceleration path for connecting the right devices onto Azure IoT. So again, this is the idea is to not take you guys into the weeds of the technical solution, but actually give you an overview or the overlay of how these solutions are being adopted by clients, by enterprise clients in the marketplace, and how there is a need for talent for such skills and solutions. Right. So this is the quick four-step agenda. We'll first understand what are the top challenges that are in the industry today. What is the power of the Azure IoT platform? How it can be used for accelerating brownfield development, and where some pieces of Azure Sphere can be leveraged for greenfield development. So keeping it very short and simple, but again, this teaser will help you think about how this can be applied and practiced for some of your manufacturing industrial clients, right? So if I talk about some of the top top five factory challenges, first is around interoperability. You guys may know that these manufacturing clients or industrial clients have have equipments that have been invested heavily in. So they have been like equipments that have been bought by the manufacturing companies about 25, 30 years ago on their capital expenses, and they are still trying to recover money out of it. And we can't replace or rip out those equipment. So the clients have to stick to those equipments and manage with those equipment. And when we talk about the modern data connected or modern smart factory solutions, there are data that doesn't are not always compatible. So there are always interoperability challenges that we face with some of the legacy industrial equipments. And so that's one. Second is that when we see some of these machineries do not have ability to spit out data. So when we want to know certain specific data tags, certain data attributes, these machines have limited ability to expose those data. Third is that all these manufacturing clients, they are actually being regulated by some industrial standards. So those sometimes regulations also make it slower to extract the data from those endpoint system integration, right? And fourth is that, let's say if we manage to connect to those data systems, or let's say to industrial equipments, we are having challenges acquiring the right data to power any kind of IoT platform. So the data acquisition is also a challenge. And last but not the least, there is lack of OEM support. So, for example, if there is a scanning machine, or if there's a thermal printing machine, these manufacturer or these OEMs, they have very limited support when we say that we need to know more about this data, this attributes that can be derived or that can be taken out from some of these machineries. So these are some of the common factory challenges that we see on the ground as of today. Okay. As a next step, what we see is that this is the Azure IoT platform. Again, I'm not going to drain through the entire architecture, but this is just a high level reference architecture, just showing what could be the power of the Azure IoT platform, right? Like this goes from right to the top of where are the devices that are sitting. These are again the IP enabled device, right? Now we are seeing that all the equipments that we are talking about, be it our refrigerator, our smart TV, everything is being managed through IP addresses. And so we want to make sure that the Azure IoT platform has the ability to connect to all of those devices, right? Like the IP enabled devices, existing IoT devices like sensors, and even if there are like low power devices, right, low on voltages, if we need to do that, we can do that too. And the important part is here is that if you look at there's a data transport mechanism through some kind of gateway that can release those data onto the device and event processing stage. But what that essentially means is that there is this platform that can connect to any machines using any protocols. And let's say once the data is collected, it can go through the process of registering the devices, registering the state of the device, what kind of events is triggering those data flows. We can capture all of those, and then we at the end we can talk about all sort of analytics that can run on top of that, right? So the idea is to actually go at the grassroots level, right? Understand um, how the machines can be connecting to all the equipment. So I would say this is like the Azure IoT platform, or I'd say the smart factory connectivity is actually the first step to collect data from bottoms up and feed it into any kind of systems, like be it the ERP systems or MRP systems or MES systems, whatever we call it, right? So it's the first step in that process. If I talk about how this can accelerate the brownfield development, so as I said, like some of these industrial clients, they are not able they are not able to get away from the equipments that they have. So how do we connect to those machinery? So there is an OPC UA standard. I would say it's a reference architecture which helps you connect to some of those legacy industrial equipments. Again, this is OPC UA is an architectural standards that overcomes a lot of the challenges that previously people used to face in the COM times, right? So it's again the mechanism or an architectural reference that can help you connect to all of your legacy equipments. And Azure works closely with a lot of IoT device manufacturers that can easily deploy these OPC UA standards to simplify the integration with any cloud platforms, particularly with Azure cloud in this scenario. So and also if I talk about the Azure provision devices, right? So Azure has also built a list of certified devices for IoT solutions, and there is actually a link, and I can share those links shortly. So these devices can be connected using IoT platforms. So there are pre-built integrations that can help accelerate the development. So that's one critical aspect of the Azure IoT solutions. That one is that it can help you connect to your any of the equipments. And secondly, Azure IoT also come with a lot of accelerators which can speed up your development time. So like there are 70% of the solutions are pre-built, and then 30% of the solution requires customization, be it around remote monitoring, smart factory device simulation. So we can do all sort of things as part of Azure IoT, right? If I go to the next portion here, so this portion is primarily around how do we do the greenfield development, right? So greenfield using Azure Sphere. So what is Azure Sphere? I think that is a question that arises. That Azure Sphere is nothing but an high level application platform for IoT, and it's a quite secured platform in terms of integration with the hardware, software, and the cloud solutions, because it is being hosted on custom Linux based OS. It has cloud based security services, and there are securely connected microcontroller units, like what we call as MCUs. So again, these and I think Microsoft has estimated that there'll be a huge growth for these MCUs. I think they have predicted or estimated about 9 billion new MCUs to be deployed every year. So you guys can imagine the demand or the surge in connecting the equipments to the application platform or the IoT platforms, right? So increasingly there is more and more need to build an internet connected solutions here, right? So this is actually the framework about taking into account the operating system, the security services, and the chip level requirements that can be managed using this platform Azure Sphere. Right? Again, this is again the Azure Sphere architecture. I'm not going to drain into the details here, but again, this is the architecture which guides how these chips are securely managed, right? Be in terms of monitoring them, be in terms of the OS level security, and what are the cloud securities that can uh, that can manage your data that is being relayed, that is being stored on the cloud or even on the edge solutions, right? So this is the recommendation from Microsoft in terms of what would be the Azure Sphere OS and security architecture they are prescribing, and along with the hardware architecture. So again, the idea is that how these solutions can manage some of the challenges that we face today in the world, right? For example, there are there are a lot of things that can go wrong when we are trying to introduce a lot of these new devices, right? Be it in terms of botnet attacks, that once get attacks cannot be recovered, attacks that take control of the devices, um, data pollution, right? The data could inaccurately get corrupted, telemetry issues. So all the things that can go wrong can be managed or protected with the help of this architecture, because Microsoft usually what they do is that as part of this architecture they have prescribed like 7 properties to secure this to secure the device, in terms of how to secure device at the hardware root of the trust level, what's your defense in depth protection, what's your computing base, how to compartmentalize your device security, how to manage certificate based authentication, error reporting, and there's always a constantly renewable security. So there are certain properties that Microsoft prescribes to manage the device security. So that's again the idea of how to manage the end to end solutions for securing your MCU devices, right? um, Last but not the least, what I would want to say here is that if you guys want to try, there are some practice development kits available out there, and I've given some recommendation of what do we need for the people who are aspiring to become an, let's say, an IoT developer or IoT practitioner. So there have been some starter kits available that can be used for developing solutions like this, and there are the development requirements in terms of your machines, your programming law knowledge, and what sort of Azure IoT devices and provisioning services are available to consume those. So these are just the practice and dev kits that I've just put out here. So anyone who's interested, they can reach out to me for any questions you have.
I have a question for you. About not specifically on the kind of delivery of what you just mentioned there, but it has been in the back of my mind for some while about Watson. Now, IBM, from my perspective, one of the biggest tech players in the market, like hands down. Um, I'm seeing ads on television. It's got some cool little music and it looks very modern, and some like little bongo drums and stuff in the background. But it's like, oh, Watson. Can you just take a few minutes and educate the audience what Watson is, and what you can do with it, and how that might fit into it and complement in your team?
Absolutely. So if I talk about Watson for a second here, Adam, so Watson is also an open source platform. Uh, it's being built on open source platform, where all the developers contribute to it, and the power of Watson is on multiple front. Number one, if there are requirements to manage, let's say, any kind of IoT solutions, then Watson has the capabilities to, let's say, remotely monitor devices, connect with those devices or the equipments. Watson is also has the abilities to accelerate the development in terms of how to build smart bots or chat bots. So Watson is one of the leading I'd say, chatbot platform today.
Mm.
So, or I would say the conversational AI platform. So Watson has a multiple spread to it. One, it in terms of be a conversational AI platform, or let's say be around building an IoT solutions. Because what we do is, again, Watson IoT has again, same as Azure IoT. It has 70% of the pre-built accelerators, which needs 30% customization based on the customer needs. But again, they are being bundled to address the client needs in terms of how to connect to the equipments, how to relay the data, how to manage them, and how to speed up the development process. So again, it's a pre-built set of libraries and accessory and assets that can help the development for our enterprise clients. So when I talk about the data and AI landscape, Adam, it helps in putting up the conversational AI solutions like around chatbots, which can be very well being used in call center technologies today. How to optimize call center technology? Watson AI has been quite popular in that space. Secondly, Watson AI is also being used right now with a lot of machine learning capabilities. Right now, we are working with a lot of our clients across the globe, and one such example I would give is that we are helping clients, let's say in Canada, in Western Canada right now, through this COVID time. We are helping clients manage how to, like for one of the oil and gas customer, how to uh, optimize the well maintenance when we are trying to extract the oils, how to optimize the well operations, how to do predictive maintenance on those wells. So we are Watson AI is one of those leading provider of those kind of solutions. And third, as I said, around the Watson IoT, we are trying to deploy. We are deploying solutions where we can connect to variety of equipments, be it around industrial equipment, smart sensors, smart monitors, to connect to them, take the data, relay it out on the cloud, right? So Watson has multiple things under its umbrella, if I say it that way.